It's Nocked, True Tales of Robin Hood again. Day 3. The final day, I believe. Okay, so I think the sheriff's gonna lead his army into Sherwood for the final battle. I think we're ready. I think I did everything that we could do. Got 9 power still. Suppose we could. That. There we go. We got 1 influence. So the game told us that the sheriff's weakness is the church. So if we can bolster this. I remind the church of my charity to counter the sheriff's effort. There is no major crisis. So we can do one of these. Let's try this. That decreases our bounty, I suppose. That's good. Okay, everything else is good. Well, let's go to the war room. Alright, Marion, let's begin the ritual. Marion takes out an enormous book. Right, to make sure our preparations, especially the magical discoveries we've unearthed, are put to good use. Now that you're going to need to learn the following incantations. Final conflict approaches and the sheriff's spies and saboteurs strike one last time. Get rid of our defenses, not good. Who do you want to coordinate? Fey artisans. I can use all my gold. Alright. The order components for this ritual are rare and expensive. We found supplies we have much, but not always everything we need. The ritual will still work with substitute ingredients, but there are some questions regarding its overall effectiveness. It's Glendower, the Welsh wizard. He sounds good. Well, we can't afford anything else, so you better be. Work on the ritual proceeds. Meanwhile, your men report strange goings-on in Nottingham Castle. The castle is being closed up to visitors and guards alike, yet terrifying sounds and strangely coloured lights are said to issue from the castle walls on a nightly basis. In spite of that, your ritual hits a snag far closer to home. Erin wipes the sweat out of her eyes. Summer heat hits like a hammer. Even this far into the deep wood, she looks like she hasn't gotten much sleep lately. It's a problem with the ritual, she sighs. Rather, different members of our team have different ideas as to what it's designed to do, where some of these plans require additional funding. The ritual is designed to render the forest inviolate and independent, a realm of its own within England. There are some debate as to the details. If wood by woods and fog, a magical forest would be accessible only by those who are meant to find their way in. Everyone else would just wander in and out without being sure of what happened. Amaranth, in her human guise, moves her hair. It is to our benefit to be a beacon, a focus for the magical power of the world, and a safe harbour to magical creatures. These themselves shall be our guardians, and magic itself shall be concentrated within our domain, rarefied and suffused in every breath and beneath every footstep. Stonehenge was a worthy attempt, but we shall rework the ley lines of the world to pass beneath our feet. You'd hoard the magic of the world, Marion Snipes, have very like a dragon. If you would, Robin, Ferry was voted the happiest of all places 100 years running. We propose the ritual transpose Sherwood and its inhabitants to our, well, realm. Okay, Marion, go with your plan. After the ritual finally arrives. You are the focus, Robin. Don't ask me why, but it has to be you. You and the forest are linked somehow, and to change its fundamental nature means you need to focus that change. She looks over a pile of gold next to the circle. Whatever money we have left is here to be transmuted into power if you need it. You shouldn't, but just in case. Sadly, I've just spent all my money, but... The disconcerting reports from Castle Nottingham continue, but the sheriff's men have the castle locked down and we've been able to gain any information. Probably if we had our spy, we could have learned some information, but we sent him away to be safe. Good luck, Robin. Your body fills with a crackling energy. Backache so hard you think you feel a crack in your consciousness spreads out over the forest. You are Robin, you are Sherwood, you are in danger. Dark cloud, evil wings. Wings of evil intent spiral out over the distant Nottingham Castle. The sheriff's vile power shoots toward you like a spear to disrupt your workings, break the power of the forest, and take the remainder for himself. This is what occupied the sheriff. Why, for all your vigil, there were no attacks. Mask of the Dragon Egg, slow sense of power, guiding horse. That one. You have built more than walls, you've built a community. You are the focus, but they are the foundation, and their strength is yours. Draw forth the golden arrow from the archery tournament. It lengthens to a blade, keen and sharp and full of ancient ire. You're the sheriff is not alone. In the back of your mind, you hear a tick-tick-tick in a throaty laugh of reptilian proportions. A stalk of slipleaf withers and dies. A clear pole turns to the back of your mind. And Harold and his black wolves ford the river under the cover of darkness from the east. They carry a stone of interdiction to disrupt the power of the Loch Forest ley lines. A pack of Baskerville hounds, led by Guy of Gisborne, braces the northern ritual forces. Right. Let's stop Harold. Harold and a force of his Black Wolf bandits fords the river into the deep wood, a heavy lead box carried on poles between them. Harold crackles through you. Let's get rid of Guy. Mystical God of Gisborne pulls up short, faced with your sudden apparition. You can see the mystical conflagration of the Norman focus over the next hill. Robin, he snarls, saws at the reins of his stallion. The sheriff said you might interrupt my midnight ride. Well, you're too late, Locksley. His power comes for you, and you cannot stop it. His horse prances side to side, and his dogs cower, unwilling to pass. Right, what's that? With our peasant power, the hounds turn tail and run. Guy follows after, unable to master his stallions. You've lost, Locksley. You just don't know it. I'm going to keep the rest of my power. Sheriff's black power pierces the border of your ritual. He finds it transported to the bare patch forest. The trees are shadow within darker shadows, barely distinguishable from the curtain of mist that circles all around. Hungry. Yes, you sense the mist is hungry. Very shadows of the forest incite the mist against you. Your promise of peace broken. Here we are. The sheriff steps into the circle and lowers his blood. A battlefield not for our bodies, but for our souls. It was a bleak grey blade. I've been looking forward to this. Feel the sheriff's plan fall into place without your intervention, his allies will warp the ritual against you. There's a trick here. I'll grab a stone and toss it at the sheriff's head. Take advantage of the sheriff's unbalanced blade. Do it. Sheriff Lassen brings his sword around, unexpectedly fast. You're forced to disengage. Sheriff pauses, breathing hard, his blade held at the ready. Mist was all around. It's almost... You can almost see shapes within, as if alive. Keep on it. To attack a boss that's so suddenly wielded in one hand, you force him backwards. He rocks, sidesteps, and backs away. You have to do better than that, Locksley. Sheriff reaches behind his back and a dagger comes flying at your face. You bat aside the projectile, but the sheriff is right behind. A sort of blur of grey steel. Light fast just the way I like it. I press back. Your swords meet so quickly that the ring of steel on steel becomes a constant din. You cut the sheriff on the arm and the leg, but his sword nicks your hand and you feel the energy drain from your body. The sheriff slams his sword into the ground and a quake knocks you off your feet. Feel the wall of mist at your back. It roars and roars and you can sense the hunger within. Scissor my legs to trip the sheriff. Okay, keep going. You leave your sword, but the sheriff is no longer there. You hear him laughing behind you. Meets your blade and sparks shower from the steel. Step by step, you force him backwards. He grimaces, clearly looking for a chance to disengage. It's my attack. Sheriff's punch catches you in the gut and you stagger backwards. His wild attack catches your sword again. Again, it breaks it at the hilt. Farewell, Sir Robin of Locksley Farm. This is the end. He spins, swing. Marion is here. Somehow she threw herself into the ritual, traversed the web of magic, and imposed herself between you and the sheriff's blade. Surely she sinks to her needs. Robin, Okay. Whisper the words of aid taught to me by Catherine Legree. Wisps swarm from the mist. They settle over Marion and blink out one by one. And all the wisps have vanished, Marion breathes once more. Sheriff eyes widen. How? He mouths and staggers backwards. 1, 2, 3 steps. The dagger finds the sheriff's throat and the wisps swirl like a nest of hornets. Suddenly a whip-thin tendril of mist coils around his wrist, and then the other wrist. A bank of fog rises at the sheriff's back, blinking with pale wisps. He's lifted from the ground and dragged screaming into its embrace. The sheriff's dead, and you feel his power flow through the trinket. You take what you can and burn the rest of your gold. Hopefully it will be enough to finish the ritual. Okay. We did it. Brilliant. Epilogue. After your confrontation with the sheriff, your role as forest-dwelling insurgents comes to an end. Everything changes. The faction of England, peasants, nobles, church and fae settle into new alignments. Nottingham and Sherwood are forever altered, and the ties that bind old friends fray and fade in the face of new opportunities. Your power is, as ever, instrumental in directing the shape of the world, but it is finite. Ooh, music. Turn it down a bit. Just in case it needs the VOD. Your power is, as ever, instrumental in directing the shape of the world, but it is finite. Your victory was complete, and you will have an easy time directing future events. Where do you spend your power to ensure lasting change? In Sherwood, events wind down to their inevitable resolution. The warp and weft of the magical ritual runs through your veins. Uncontested, you're ready to release the energy and pause. Magic will run its course, but your final words will make all the difference. I expand the ritual to encompass Nottingham to save as many people as possible. Sounds good. Spread thin, the power of the ritual settles over the land in unexpected patterns. A barrier rises to protect Sherwood, but it remains permeable at Nottingham. A naturally defensible choke point, Nottingham becomes a gateway town, a joint holding between England and Faerie. It is an open border where both peoples can meet, trade and live. It is a beginning. Like ripples in a pond, your actions in Sherwood have far-reaching consequences. Unfortunately, several factions vie for ascendancy in a struggle that threatens to tear England apart. They look to you for support. Got a bit of power. The peasantry seeks to throw off the shackles of serfdom. I aid them. The nobility want to explore the far horizon. The church wants to end the crusades. They work to ignite the ley lines and free magic locked up since time immemorial. Let's help the peasantry, I guess. Bothered by your resistance, the peasants throw off the shackles of serfdom, sending a shockwave across the social strata of England. Overnight, one of the foundations of noble privilege collapses, and a free people, determined to better themselves than their children, steps into the sun. It is the dawn of a new age. Everyone you encountered, even briefly, was touched in your passing. Of those, some few found their lives deeply changed. Rarer still were those whose footsteps can still find a different path. What of their fate? To a guy. Guy of Gisborne leaves Nottingham with his hounds and takes up residence on his family estate in Baskerville. The mist there is just as treacherous as the deep wood. Both he and his hounds disappear one evening without a trace. Residents of the area say you can still hear them howling, man and hounds both, when the moon is dark and the mist rolls over the moors. And it becomes, part of the story of Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles. It's a neat tie-up. Harold the Grim sails for Vinland on a ship captained by Eric the Red. He is neither seen or heard from again. Alan Adale and Catherine. Finally free of her curse, Catherine and Alan set sail for France. It is the beginning of a voyage that will take them all the way to the edge of the world and back. To many, they vanished from mist and memory, though the writings of Marco Polo describe a refuge found high in the Tibetan mountains. He was given succor during a snowstorm by a man with moss-green eyes and a woman whose dress favoured every colour of the rainbow, except grey. That's nice. Yet does any tale hold more than a kernel of truth? Palamedes. Palamedes returns to Granada, where he quickly proves his vision and skill as an architect. Inspired by his time in the Deepwood, he begins work converting an old fortress, the Alhambra, into a work of art. Sarah works and lives at his side, promoting tolerance and acceptance between the Moors and Christians of southern Spain. He ever held to his own vision, as he should. This story winds its way closer to the end of our tale. And what of those closer to Robin's heart? Robin and Marion were voted most promising new couple by the Merry Men, but love does not always last. I guess we should. Ours was the romance for the ages, our fates remained intertwined. Cost 6 power, but what the hell. Your friends stand upon the fulcrum of destiny. A careful or careless word might decide their direction. Where does their ending lie? Your mentor and friend returns his attention to the church. I've got enough power to aid him. Yes, when the Archbishop steps down shortly after your showdown with the sheriff, Friar Tuck makes a bid to become his successor. He is defeated by Hubert Walter, who outspends Tuck's campaign with plunder from the Crusades. The Church increasingly turns its attention to extending the war for the Holy Land and reaping wealth and land from lives lost in battle. Tuck is reassigned to a lonely parish on the Isle of Man. Sorry, Tuck. Eli and Darley were inseparable at first. They're practical people. Guess we can't save them. Ellie leaves Sherwood for Shropshire and marries a miller. She and Eli remain in frequent correspondence. Eli never marries. Instead, she devotes her life to the church and founds an order of nuns dedicated to practicing and preserving the healing arts. And Peter, how does he fare? Peter masters his asthma in 12th century England and dedicates himself to horsemanship. He becomes a well-respected message rider and travels all across England. Life, for him, holds a certain simplicity. Okay, what about Amaranth? The fate of dragons is never that of men. I work to maintain the bond between us. The alliance between man and dragon was always tenuous. I allow it to fray. Okay, so we can give Amaranth a happy ending. They would always be the best known as the guardian of the river crossing. We can't get him from a Okay. Well, Scarlet had many responsibilities and expectations on his young shoulders. On his own way. Even enamored with stories of the Crusades, Will Scarlet sets out on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. His easy manner and good looks get him into no end of trouble. His last letter was from Damascus, where he had captured the heart of a governor's daughter and was desperately looking for a flying carpet to get him out of town. He will find no end of trouble. Much the miller's son was always a gambling man. I give Much a few pointers and hang on to some cash. Ooh. Much will have to trust his own luck. Much the miller's son gambles his way up and down England until his money and his luck runs out. In a lonely tavern on the coast of Northumberland, one of his gambling partners leaves him with nothing but a bottle of whiskey and the shirt on his back. Whiskey is some comfort, but it being winter, the shirt is not enough. It was, if you think about it, an inevitable ending. Yeah, I suppose since Amaranth has helped us a bit, we should give her a good ending. Amaranth's horde is the envy of dragonkind, and she uses her power and influence to unite the non-humans within her domain and carve out, through blood and conquest, a place where the magical creatures of the world can live without fear of human butchers. She buys time and hope for a more permanent solution. Let's see what happens to John. Without the intensity of your outlaw resistance, little John drifts away, searching for something undefined. Maybe searching for a group or cause to once more give him meaning. When last you hear from him, he's fallen back into his cups and taken to a guarding a lonely bridge in exchange for tolls. One night, with Sir Bedivere no longer there to protect him, John follows a wisp into the woods and vanishes as if he'd never been. We come to an end, close to where we began. Only Robin and Marion remain. What of Robin Hood, that mysterious romantic figure who stepped from obscurity in the spring of 1192? We end the tale where we began. Freedom does not guarantee happiness. I continue redistributing wealth so the peasants will have a chance at a better life. I've got enough power for that. Sheriff left too much of a mess for me to focus on anything beyond Nottingham. Following the defeat of the sheriff, you work tirelessly to undo ills wrought by the sheriff. Those closer to you say there was always a glint in your eye, a thoughtful look when considering that far horizon. Marion is beloved of the entire community, winning the title of Summer Queen several years running before she retires to give someone else a chance. Some days you wonder if she is truly popular, and you are merely tolerated. Still, with her hand guiding your actions, Nottingham becomes one of the most prosperous communities in all of England. One morning, the mist still heavy over the fields, your chambers were found empty, the window open and your bow and sword missing from their place on the wall. Somewhere in the world, adventure awaits. So, who's telling this story? Remember that talking wolf from the beginning of the game? Give me a little love next time around, see where life takes us. The end. I don't remember the wolf, or do I? Yes, I do. Oh yeah, we did save the wolf. Roll credits. Brilliant. Well, there we go. It's quickly done up, wasn't it? That's a pretty, it's a very well-made game if you're into your visual novels and your strategy stuff. It's very extensive. There's a lot of different ways to play this game. Influences include Dungeons and Dragons, Witcher series, Shadow and Dragonfall, Dragon Age, Tyranny. The Outlaws of Sherwood. Yeah, it's got all of the Merry Men. It's got Sherwood. It's got all the characters from the stories, but it throws in also a lot of things from Arthurian legend. It's got ogres and dragons and stuff and unicorns. Yeah, it just takes in a lot of stuff. It's got Vikings. And there's clearly a lot of different points in the story where your decisions can change things a lot. I feel like I didn't do that great, but since I was on the easiest difficulty, I got through it. But we did manage to rescue Marion, well, Marion's father, from the ball. And we got the dragon eggs, and we got gold, so we did well there. We saved Marion at the archery contest, and we won it. It was also pretty good of us. Yeah, balancing the different factions is definitely something which is a bit trickier. I think you really meant to lean into one more than the other. We did kind of. We went with the phase, which kind of worked well. But yeah, it's knowing where you need to balance your gold, renown, men, and power as well. Yeah, there's definitely a lot you can go into here, and if you enjoy it, this type of game, it would be worth playing it multiple times to try out all those different ways to play. We didn't even upgrade the hideout all that much. I suppose you didn't really need to if you were going the magic route like we did at the end, because the army doesn't attack you. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of ways that can unfold, but it's very, very wordy. Like, if that's fine, if you're okay with just reading stuff, you know, great. You know, it's a very well-made game, like I say. Definitely a lot to it, if you're really into these games. So yeah, but that's us done with Nocked, I think. That was a fun little adventure, wasn't it? Very thorough. Very thorough exploration into the Robin Hood world. Very good. Very good indeed. Right, but that will do us for that. And next game on stream, well, in terms of Robin Hood, will be... It's one of the 4 Robin Hood strategy games. I forget which one. They're all released in like 2 years of each other. So I don't know which one comes first, but one of those, well, all 4 of those next at some point. Brilliant.